Welcome to this week's edition of Recovery Monday, brought to you by the good folks at Powell CDC. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I love this job. Couldn't do it without you. What is this about? This is about people's hurts, habits, and hang-ups, and giving you an opportunity to meet some of the brave people who have decided to strip away all their character defects, change their life, and brave enough to come in here and share that story with you. And today's guest is certainly one of those. Her name is Shay. She is 96 days sober. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with the recovery world, and I think most of you are by now, we've been doing this program for a couple of years. 96 days is like a baby eaglet who is not yet ready to even feed itself. But yet it's strong enough to spread its wings. It's strong enough to caw at its mother and father, but not yet ready to jump from the nest. That's what 96 days is. 96 days is the fog has begun to lift. The urge or desire to drink has probably been removed, but life is somewhere in limbo. It's nothing like it was before, and in most people's cases, they have no idea where it's going. Lila Stafford, who is a certified counselor with Powell CDC, is here. And, of course, Bob Montserrat, our cat in the hat, who in real life is a forensic scientist, and one of his specialties is alcohol and alcoholism. And we're being produced by Ryan today. Now, I will tell you that Shay is incredibly nervous, and she's going to do a very good job today. But I may ask her a question that she doesn't want to answer, and I'm totally respectful of that. And so she may simply say, "Oh, I don't want to answer that yet." That's fine. She also will not be using anyone's names. All right. And so you're going to hear, if she does use a name, it's probably a generic like Bob or Joyce. And but as I have asked you before, please trust me. This is a true story. The names have maybe been changed to protect the innocent, but this is a true story. So, Shay, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
You're a very beautiful young lady.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being here today. So, tell me about the first time you ever took a drink.
I was probably 14 or 15.
Okay.
And I think we were playing the game of life at home in our living room. So it was Boone's Farm wine, real classy, right?
Yeah.
And I actually probably had like 3 or 4 glasses of it because apparently my little sister said that I was annoying and she wanted to beat me up because I was pretending we were playing Wheel of Fortune or something, I guess. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's we? Who was playing the game?
My mom and her boyfriend and my sister and I.
Okay.
And so you were drinking in front of your mother.
Yeah.
So that must have been okay.
Yeah.
So you grew up in an environment where you didn't have to hide the alcohol. It was just always there and present in the refrigerator or in the back room or wherever.
I would say it was probably always present, but I didn't really drink in like excess when I was 14, 15. Not
Okay.
a lot. I mean, it was just random stuff like that. Or like New Year's Eve, I had a slumber party and my mom bought bottles of Boone's Farm wine. I'm sure my friends' parents would not be happy if they knew that, but
Yeah. How old are you?
32.
All right. And never been married?
No.
No babies?
No.
Couple dogs?
Yes.
Okay. And cats?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going through middle school and high school, and are you using anything other than alcohol?
No.
No. And when is the first time you remember being drunk?
Other than the time we played Life and Wheel of Fortune.
Okay, so that was one.
Yeah.
Would you say every time after that was intoxication?
Maybe for the most part, not all the time.
Okay.
Sometimes it was just like a couple drinks, you could stop. It was fine. Or you just
When did you move from wine to liquor?
probably when I was like 18, 19.
Okay.
It was mostly like wine coolers and stuff like that when I was like under 18. And then
Okay.
it probably was 18, 19.
Were you craving alcohol, or were you wanting it to make you feel more secure in a situation? Or
More outgoing, like made me more out. I was always told that a guy I dated I was with for 4 years would tell me that I was more fun if I drank because he drank all the time. all the time. We'd go on vacation and he'd be like, why don't you ever drink when we're on vacation? And I would be like, because I want to remember this trip. And then it just kind of got, oh, well, I'm more fun if I drink. So everybody liked the non-sober Shay.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about that non-sober Shay. Who would I meet? Because the woman I meet here is a Jesus freak. She is very cautious of people and never wanting to hurt anybody. She obviously loves animals. I know you from church, and I know people who know you from church, and they say you have a servant's heart that you want to help. But apparently that wasn't the Shay when she got tanked.
Well, she always still wanted to help people. Like, I was never like deliberately or intentionally mean to people. I still always wanted to help everybody and save everybody, and sometimes that gets me in trouble because I can't save everybody. I'm learning that now. But I was I was more outgoing. Like, I would make friends with everybody, and then people would come up to me like 2 days later, and I'd be like, "Am I supposed to know who you are?"
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I remember when Jerry was here, the guy who works for Powell, who's the psychologist.
Yeah.
Or is he a psychiatrist?
No, psychologist.
He made a comment that people who want to save people are people who need saved themselves. Would you
Right.
say that was true?
I'd say that was true.
What did you need to be saved from? Or
All sorts of
who?
stuff. All sorts of stuff. I mean, childhood stuff, just stupid things that I'd made mistakes of doing. And
Yeah, but everybody makes mistakes.
I know, but if you want people to like you, you have to put up this whole front that you're somebody that you're not. So
And you don't believe that anymore.
no, not really.
Good, good. Now, you talked about childhood stuff. Are you comfortable talking about your mother?
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about it. That's fine.
Okay. She's in prison
Yes.
for manufacturing and
Not manufacturing.
just
Possession with
distribution
intent to deliver. Yes.
of meth.
Yes.
Now, I don't know your mother, and I don't want to be judgmental. My guess is that was, if she also gave you wine at the age of 14, my guess is that was her lifestyle for a long time.
Both my parents are addicts. My dad wasn't really around. I didn't see him much as a child. She, I guess, has always had a habit. She didn't get that far into it till probably I was in high school when she tampered with other stuff. But yeah, mostly growing up, they drank, but she never drank a lot. Her boyfriends drank. They smoked a lot of weed.
Okay. Was she a protective mother of you from these other people that were around drinking and drugging?
No, not really.
Okay.
I mean,
so were you sometimes fearful?
sometimes.
Okay. Were you ever hurt?
She had a boyfriend that she was with for about 5 years who was not the most nicest person.
Okay.
And I still don't know if I ran into him now, 20 some years later, if I would be completely nice to him, because he was a violent drunk.
Okay. Oh.
So he drank all the time, and he'd come home and he'd be just a nightmare.
Yeah.
And he was very strict, and I'm sure that came from his childhood. So if you didn't brush your teeth a certain way, or you didn't vacuum the floor a certain way, you were going to hear about it. And
He was controlling
and abusive. I mean,
Yeah.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have a half sister.
Okay. So she lived at home during the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
And did she also end up being an addict or an alcoholic?
She went through a phase that she did do. She did do mostly through teenagers. I think it's probably been 5 years since she's done any drugs, but she actually has a son now, so she's
Good.
calmed down a little bit. So
Okay. All right. Give me a happy childhood memory.
probably my grandma.
Okay. Which would be your mother's mother.
Correct.
And she was comforting, nurturing, loving.
Everything that my mom wasn't.
Okay. Why do you think that your mother was so different from your grandmother?
I don't know. I think a lot of it is my mom was the last of 4 children.
Okay.
And she was the unplanned child.
Oh.
So she kind of did whatever she wanted, and my grandparents were older.
Okay.
And so they were kind of just let her do what she wants. Probably
Okay.
why she got married at 15 to my father.
15?
Yeah.
Was that even legal?
Your parents had to sign for it, I guess.
Wow. How long were they married?
About 5 years.
Now, you said you haven't seen much of your father.
No.
Is he present in your life at all?
He did come to the recovery celebration at Powell on Thursday.
Good.
He's
That's
actually
a big deal, isn't it?
It is, but it's not. he's a recovering alcoholic, but he's relapsed many times, and he's got about 5 or 6 months now.
Okay.
So, it's just, he was never really around. So it's hard for me. I don't really have a strong relationship with him.
Okay.
Did you know he was coming?
Yeah. He told me he was going to be in town, and I told him if he wanted to come, he could come, because I have a super busy schedule, so I don't always have the most available time for people.
Yeah.
So.
How old was your mother when you were born?
18, almost 19.
Okay, so you weren't the reason that they got married.
No.
Okay. And has that always been here in Central Iowa? Has this always been home?
Yeah.
Okay. Our guest today is Shay. She is 96 days sober. 96 days. This is a disease that you approach, and it wasn't just a TV show in the 70s. You approach this one day at a time. You might think it odd that we say 96 days, that we don't say little over 3 months, because it's not a little over 3 months. It's 6 days past 3 months, and that's a big deal. When you're 96 days sober, life is becoming very real. I can't tell you what sober, S-O-B-E-R, means. Well, I can give them, son of a you-know-what, everything's real.
Yeah, got that.
I won't say the word because that's not a good word for Jesus' ears, but you have no idea how true that is. I'm not even sure that if we looked up the original word and how that word came about, that it wasn't an acronym. Because at 96 days, that's what it is. Because, see, at 96 days, you have had 96 nights, 95 nights, that you've not numbed yourself, that you've not poured yourself into a bottle or a drug to try to escape the pain that life is. Because when you're an alcoholic or a drug addict, life is painful. Now, if you are, and pardon me if I offend you by saying this, but if you are short-sighted enough to think that, well, that's their fault, they choose to drink, then you and I need to have a cup of coffee and talk about the disease that alcoholism is. Perhaps there was someone in your life that you know that they weren't alcoholic. They were just nuts. They were hurt. And they used alcohol and drugs to hide, but never admitted that they were an addict or an alcoholic. You've heard me say this before, but never forget this, please. Hurt people hurt people. Does that remind you of someone in your family? Hurt people hurt people. And as Shay said earlier, those people who are constantly trying to serve others and come to the rescue, it's because they so desperately need rescued themselves. They say that people with our disease have an ego the size of Manhattan and self-confidence the size of a pea. That's true. It's so true. See, there are those people like the man that Shay's mother dated and lived with for a while. There are those people that turn into horrible, horrible, horrible people when they drink. I hope you've never known someone like that. Most of us quiet down or get happy or go to sleep. Most of us drink isolated in the basement, away from everyone. Most of us do nothing but want to help other people when this disease and our addictions hit high noon. And I don't mean high noon as in the clock. I mean that moment in life when you either have to drink or use, or you have to turn to some other alternative. What's the other alternative? Well, what is it for you? If you're not an alcoholic or a drug addict, where do you go when someone hurts you? When the stress of life is just too tough? When the resentments that you carry are thrown in your face in such an ugly and unhappily manner? Where do you go? Maybe to your faith. Maybe to your best friend. Maybe you write in a journal. Maybe you eat chocolate-covered cherries. An alcoholic and an addict turns to the worst thing they could, the disease of the accuser, which eats away our faith. When we come back, Shay's life as it continued in her 20s, and later how she finally found home. That's here on Recovery Monday, brought to you by Powell CDC.
A father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
Hey, psst. Let me let you in on a little secret. You ready? Always try to do business with people, not places, especially if you seek honest Christian business people. And when it comes to my car, I really need to trust who's working on it. Now, my family is so blessed. A few years ago, we found a family-owned automobile repair shop that operates as a Christian business also. Open, honest, reliable, trustworthy. It's AMCO on Hickman Road in front of Kmart, and it's a family-owned Christian operating business. This family treats your car as if it was their car. Everything from oil changes to transmission repair and everything in between. So the next time you feel the need to be at peace with your choice of who you can trust with your car, give AMCO on Hickman a chance to serve you. And tell them Max sent you.
If Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of America was your personal webmaster, Tom would filter out all bad debt emails. If Tom was your mailman, you'd never get any debt reduction junk mail. If Tom Coates was a lineman, he'd block any phone calls offering to reduce your credit card debt.
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America, and we're still your best choice for credit counseling. We're local, we're accountable, and we can do more. You make the call when the time's right for you.
When it comes to competition, there really is none for Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live. Welcome back to Recovery Monday, brought to you by the good folks at Powell CDC. Give you an idea of what's coming up next week. A very special show. There is a couple in our church where Lila and I go, who has a mentally challenged child, and yet they don't hide him. They don't keep him in the back room. They don't leave him at home. In fact, they put him out front. And what it was like to raise a child like that. That's coming up on Monday the 25th. And then next week, a man who's in charge of the Iowa Drug and Alcohol Program here in the state of Iowa. My guest today is Shay. Shay is 96 days sober. And if you've been listening to this program, you know that I'm trying to help you understand that that's a really, really big deal. It's a big deal. Because 96 days ago, her life was completely different than it is now. And I don't know that much about your life before or now, but that's what happens, right?
Right.
What happens in that first 100 days, Lila? You see these people all the time through treatment and things like that?
Well, things become real because you're pretty much in denial up until when you walk through the door, and even when you walk through the doors at Powell, you're pretty much in denial about how your addiction has been affecting other people. So we have different exercises that we do with them so that they'll have to be real about how their addiction is affecting them and how it's affected other people. So they're, what I tell a lot of people is basically in treatment, what we've done is just gotten rid of the liquor or the drug and then after that is when life hits you, and you have to start living life. In we have aftercare groups that will help you learn to live life on life's terms.
Yeah. Now say that again, because that's an important phrase. Living life on life's terms.
Yes.
Because prior to that, whose terms are we living life on?
We try to control our own. I mean, everything revolved around us and our addiction. And so we're trying to manipulate everything. The energy that goes into that is just incredible, so that we can be in control.
Yeah.
And we never are. So we're always disappointed and always go to soothe ourselves so that we can deal with life. And so what these aftercare groups do is to help you so you don't have to go for that bottle or those pills or whatever you're doing to soothe yourself, because talking about our problems helps you soothe it and helps you solve it. You're more in the solution than you are the problem.
Okay.
Where before you came into treatment, you're basically muddling around in the problem over and over and over.
Lila Stafford from Powell CDC. Now, Bob, you are a forensic scientist and an expert in alcohol. Last week, we talked about the different stages of alcoholism. And basically, by the time you get to treatment, you're somewhere in your late third or stuck in the middle of your fourth level, which is drinking daily, maybe drinking to control the shakes, probably drinking most of the day or most parts of the day. You've probably lost a job, lost a marriage in stage 4. I mean, you're full-blown alcoholic.
Well, stage 4 is also damaging your body tremendously, and you probably have some disease caused by the alcohol.
Okay. Now, as an expert in alcoholism and alcohol, how long, somebody who's in late 3 or early 4, how long does it take to really get all that alcohol out of their cells, out of their fat, out of their... I mean, forget the veins. We can detox that, but what about the other parts of the body that have soaked this up?
Well, actually, the body sees alcohol as a toxic substance. It sees it as a poison. And so the liver does the job of clearing it out of your system. And alcohol clears out fairly fast, basically a drink an hour. And it's usually it's faster with people that are experienced drinkers.
Okay.
So it doesn't linger like a drug like marijuana that could linger for a month or so in your fat. So it's not a fat-soluble material. It's water-soluble. And since we're 70% water, it mixes pretty well and gets into our system pretty fast, and then we get rid of it pretty quick, too.
All right. Now, what about when you mix drug use, marijuana use, things like that with it?
Well, again, the alcohol it doesn't work well with marijuana or other drugs. When you mix them, obviously, some of the movie stars, their deaths have been because of mixing alcohol with some type of narcotic. And it has a synergistic effect, which they call it's just combined. It enhances the effect much more than by itself, by the drug itself. So, matter of fact, I did a case last week or 2 weeks ago where the person tested a 0.5. 500 level. Oh. And that person was alive. And
not 0.05,
no,
0.5, half of their blood.
0.5, not half of the blood, but because that's not saying that's a percent.
Right. I'm sorry, yes.
And it's a 0.5%, but still, 0.08 is the per se level in this state.
Yeah.
And so this person was clearly well over that.
Were they unconscious?
6 times. No.
Whoa.
But they were in a personal injury accident. Driving, and so they're out there, and even in that same batch that I did, there were over 300, near 400 levels. So there are people that are very experienced that get up to those levels, and then there are people that have to maintain at a high level just to feel normal.
Yeah,
have to maintain at a 100 or so.
I think of that every time I get in my car. That there are people I drive as though everyone out there's drunk, and I'm ready for them pulling out in front of me because I'm so amazed by the stories I hear daily that these people are out there drinking. I mean, they really are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or using.
Yeah. I would, I wish we would get to the point in society where standard equipment in a car would be a breathalyzer.
Well, they're moving to that. They have ignition interlock devices now for those that are offenders, repeat offenders, that they can't drive or get a license until they have that. And they have to deliver their breath, and then after the car starts, they have to continue doing that within 10 or 15 minutes as they go. So they're delivering their breath as they're driving. So, but they're also working on sensors for the steering wheel,
Oh.
so that you can get it that comes through your skin. So
Yeah.
Oh.
I can see some of this happening as time progresses. That it's going to be a safety thing that's going to be required on vehicles.
Well, but pretty soon cars will start driving themselves, and then you don't have to worry about
Yeah.
it.
True.
This is Recovery Monday here on 99.3 KTIA. Let's go back to our guest, Shay, 96 days sober. So do you remember the first time you paid consequences for your alcohol or drug use?
As far as like legal consequences or just
Either one, either in a relationship or legally.
I would say probably not until the last 2 years.
Okay. So you maintained a pretty good level, didn't get in trouble with the police, and didn't lose a job or lose a boyfriend?
No, I
or-
lost jobs.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. That
Yeah.
I would blame on headaches and, things like that.
But you were hungover. Mm-hmm. Couldn't go to your job.
Nope.
Okay, so what about in the last couple of years?
Year and a half ago, the first time I ever got in trouble legally, I punched my best friend's husband in the face on Super Bowl Sunday.
My, oh my.
Yes.
Are you still best friends?
Her and I, yes.
You and him, not so much.
No, probably not as much, no.
Okay, and why did you punch him?
The dispute.
Okay. But you say yours was fueled by alcohol.
Oh,
Had
yeah.
you not been intoxicated, you would not have chosen to hit him.
No, I probably wouldn't have.
Okay. Any DUIs?
One last September.
One last September. All right.
But that doesn't mean, whenever you're caught, you probably drank and drove a lot, but you were picked up
Right.
once. Yeah, for some reason, once we're caught at that thing, then it's all this shaming when,
Yeah.
I can't count the times I drank and drove. Oh my God, a lot.
Yeah.
It didn't stop me, though.
Oh yeah.
No, everybody's like, did you quit drinking because you got an OWI? That didn't stop me.
Yeah.
Is that when your wiener dog spent the night at the Clive PD?
No.
That was
a
something different?
night. Yep.
Okay. So tell me about the last 2 years. What triggered the escalation of your consumption here in the last 2 years?
Probably a lot of stuff going on with my family,
Okay.
work-related stuff, and that started about 3 years ago. I hated my job that I had, and it wasn't so much the job that I hated, but it was the atmosphere. It was very toxic,
Okay.
and so I drank more and more, and then
Could you drink at work?
I didn't drink. I didn't drink a lot during the day.
Okay. But as we all know, as alcoholics, you don't have to be drinking to have the ism of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
You can act terrible being 96 days sober and not having any alcohol in your system.
Right.
Do you? That's an interesting question. At 96 days sober, do you still feel yourself out of control sometimes, in a rage, wanting to punch somebody in the face?
Not too much.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a completely different person when I drink. Like it's
Yeah.
night and day, Jekyll and Hyde, night and day.
Because you're a very nice person here, and you're a very professional person.
But
and
I
you-
would venture to say that you probably had some anger that you didn't know how to deal with.
Correct.
And so it was storing up inside you.
Yeah.
So when you drank, you had an excuse.
Right.
Yeah. And then everything would just come out.
Coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where was your anger aimed at?
Just a lot of things that had happened, like things that you just don't let go of, things that you think about all the time, trust issues, things like that.
Okay. And you probably already know this, but the steps are set up for you to get rid of those.
Right.
Do you feel that you're ready to do that fourth and fifth step and then do the seventh step and ask God to take over and get rid of those character defects?
I think so.
Okay, good.
Or I hope so, at least.
Have you started working the steps?
Not really.
Okay. You know you're powerless over alcohol.
I know
and
that.
your life's unmanageable.
Oh, yes, I know that.
You know that you have got to ask somebody else, a higher power, to step in and do that.
Yep.
You've done that.
Right.
And you've chosen your higher power be a Christian higher power.
Correct.
How has that experience changed your life?
Immensely.
Okay.
I actually was telling somebody about a week ago after church that had I not found hope, I probably would not have quit drinking.
Okay. So the church that we go to kind of helped that.
When you know that you have God on your side, it's like you're never alone again.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's huge. And to know that God's got your back, you know, and
yeah, absolutely. And you were in the middle of Alpha when you made this choice to quit?
Yes.
We have that in common. I was also in the middle of Alpha, and it was at the Holy Spirit retreat that I realized that I was simply not living the life that God had created for me at all, and that was up to me. And the first thing I needed to shed was this anvil that I walked around with called alcohol. As you said earlier, the guilt and shame of every night being drunk.
Right. And it was more so not just taking Alpha. It was actually, I hosted Alpha this last time, and
oh, wow.
It was kind of, I couldn't do it anymore.
You couldn't host?
No, I couldn't
drink.
I couldn't drink anymore. It was.
You felt like you were living a double life, kind of.
Kind of.
I'm telling these people.
And my best friend actually said that to me one night through it, like probably the second to last night that I drank. She said, "You can't sin all week and then go to church and live a completely different life on Sunday."
Yeah.
And she was right. At that time, did I think she was right? No.
Yeah.
Well, but I would also stick my theology finger in that dike and tell you that you're never going to stop sinning.
Right.
You know, we are, Pastor Mike and the pastors say this so well, we're a messed up church. We make a lot of mistakes. But as the sermon was this weekend, when we're all together working, we can move forward.
Right.
Okay. Shay is our guest. When we come back, what was that Holy Spirit retreat like? What was that Alpha experience? What happened that she finally put the plug in the jug? It's Recovery Monday, here live on KTIA, brought to you by Powell CDC.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershot.
I'm administrative manager.
I am the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're going to do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed rider it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you going to say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're going to be listening. They're going to want to know what your challenges are. Then they're going to come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me. But is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though. I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm going to take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
Welcome back to Recovery Monday, brought to you by Powell CDC. Lila Stafford, a certified counselor at Powell, is with us. Also, Bob Montserrat, the cat in the hat, who is a forensic scientist and an expert on alcohol. He doesn't consume it, but he knows how it affects you when you drink it in your body or that person that you love. By the way, and I've told you this before, but we don't do this program thinking the alcoholic or the addict's listening to us. We do this program for you, the person who is an enabler. You don't like that term, do you? I know. It means that you have some responsibility. And the truth of the matter is you really don't have much. There's nothing you can do to get your spouse or your child or your grandchild or your pastor or somebody from church to quit drinking. There's nothing you can do. Now, you can walk from their lives so you don't have to deal with it, or you can be supportive. And then somebody will use that E word, that enabler word. And so it's a tough choice. What would God tell you to do with that person that you love? If you could not be harmed by that individual anymore, if for some reason that blockade was up around you and you were only able to help, how would you help? Shay's our guest today. Who tried to help you? Who in your life? Was it your mother? It wasn't your father. Was it your little sister?
No.
No? So who was in your life who was that sounding board that would say, Shay, do you think maybe you're partying too much? Or, was there a boss that fired you but said as he fired you or she fired you, I really think you ought to look into, your drinking?
My aunt, maybe.
Which would be your mother or your dad's?
My mother's sister.
Okay. Who does not have the same alcoholism or drug abuse?
Correct.
Okay. What would she say, or what did she say to you?
She told me that I needed to stop. There were multiple occasions. There were incidents that she'd been called. Actually, the last night that I drank, her and my best friend yanked me out of the bar.
Okay.
And apparently I had told my best friend, and I don't remember telling her that I needed to go to treatment. So.
Okay. Was the conversation of your drinking a common conversation that you were involved with, either brought up by you or brought up by people?
Not really.
Okay. So why did you say that to your friend, do you think?
Because she probably started to notice the last couple years, but because I couldn't control it anymore. I was always I remember one of the last conversations I had with my mom before I quit drinking was, it was after church one day, and it was on why does God let people suffer? And I was on this whole kick of why does God let people suffer? Why can't I stop? I just keep, it keeps happening. It just happens. And it was just horrible. It was all the time. And I thought I hid it well from a lot of people, and I messed a lot of stuff up. So. Okay.
Can you share with me some of the things you messed up? I know there's some things that you want to keep close to the breast and close to yourself right now.
Job stuff.
Do you have a career?
Right now? No.
Well, but if you could do anything, what would you do?
What would I do? I would probably open a shelter for women in recovery that don't have children, because there aren't a lot of places like that out there.
Yeah.
There's places for people with children or people who have been to prison, but there aren't people who are in recovery that maybe can't go home because home's not a good environment for them. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh, I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, you got Lila thinking now. So tell me about that. Tell me about that decision to quit. Tell me the 24 hours around it or the 48 hours around it.
It was kind of, I don't know, the second to last day was the worst. I'd fallen the night before and didn't remember it and things like that. And the next day I was just like, oh, I'm not going to drink today. I'm not going to drink today. And then the next day I went out and I drank more, probably 3 times as much as I drank the night before. And I was just like, it has to stop. My life was going nowhere. I was a bad friend. I was a bad employee. I was a bad child. I was
It's a progressive disease, and it sounds like
Right.
it's the last year or so it was getting worse and worse.
It got worse. I mean, 2 years ago, I met the most amazing person, the person that I would love to spend the rest of my life with, but I did a lot of stupid things when I was drinking. And so
Is that a relationship you think you'll get back?
I don't know. I hope so.
Okay.
I think that I'm deserving of a sober second chance.
Okay. Are you better than that now?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here's what I'm trying to say. And I don't know anything about this relationship, but maybe you've grown so far past this individual that the right man for you is somebody who you thought was unreachable before.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Well, good for you. You know, I hope that works out.
Well, if he
for
ended
you.
the relationship, he was probably healthier. He was probably healthy, and it was like, I don't need to be around this.
Correct.
Yeah.
She's exactly right there.
Okay.
But I think that I deserve a second sober chance. I'm pretty amazing when I'm not drinking. So.
Okay. Yeah, I bet you are. Have you had that conversation with him?
Not really. I don't communicate well when I'm sober. The shy person that I tried to get away from, she comes back out. And
Well, I've got to tell you, I've had you on the radio for 40 minutes, and you've communicated very well. So perhaps that's a little self-deprecating, and you're better than you think you are.
You know,
Maybe.
I'm going to tell you what I tell a lot of people. Be very careful of what you're saying to yourself, your self-talk, because if you say it enough, you're going to believe it. And that isn't the truth about you. It may have been true before, but I don't see that at all in you.
I have this saying, this annoying burden of chopped liver. And I have some friends that I have met in the last couple months that are actually really close to me, that I'm really close to, and they always tell me, "Stop! You're not chopped liver. You need to stop. You need to stop."
Right. Yeah, and I will tell you that now in the spiritual world, we use the word devil, or we use the word Satan.
Right.
You know the word I use for him? The accuser. Because what he does is he accuses me of horrible things.
Right.
And he makes me believe that I'm chopped liver.
Right.
And for me, here was my language. You're a lousy father. You're a lousy son. You're a lousy husband. Those were my L's. And it was the thumb and then the first finger and the second. And it got to the point where my wife would no longer argue with me on that because she was so tired of hearing it. And he began to win. I began to believe I was a lousy husband because my wife no longer, I mean, after 10 years, she finally said, you know what, if you want to think that, go ahead.
Right.
So the accuser is in your head telling you you're not good enough. Because you've got two people. Bob, are you in on this also? You got three people here who think you're amazing. And if you're shy, you're not uncomfortably shy. You're doing an excellent job sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
So just know that. Okay, so I want to know that moment that you said to God, I surrender. I'm done. I'm turning it over. Never again.
Well, when I first went to treatment, I was like, thought I was doing it for everybody else. I was like, you know what? This is what they all want. My aunt thinks I need to quit drinking. My best friend thinks I need to quit drinking. Everybody thinks I need to quit drinking. And I was like, I'll just do this, I'll make everybody happy. And then I'll just go back to the way my life was before. And I got to treatment and I was like, I am not like these people. They have way more problems than I do. They need to focus more on them and not on me. And then I guess it was probably the week of the Holy Spirit retreat, I was asked to tell my Alpha story at church. And it was probably then that I was like, okay, I think I'm done now. I think
Did you have a spiritual awakening?
It was basically like something told me that there's something better for you.
Okay.
There's, bigger and better things for you, that you don't need to live your life like this anymore because people do care about you.
Yes.
And people understand where you're coming from. You're not alone. And as they always say in treatment, you're not the first and you're not the worst. So
Right. And then did you begin to understand how you weren't the first and you weren't the worst? That you could grow beyond this?
Yeah.
Okay. Our guest is Shay. We're going to come back with our last segment, and we're going to talk about what the last 96 days have been like. What it's like to begin recovery. What it's like for that self-awareness and self-discovery that I'm not the first and I'm certainly not the worst. And what the future looks like for this amazing young woman. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I love this job. I really love this job. And I couldn't do it without you. Right here in the middle of Recovery Monday, brought to you by Powell CDC on KTIA, Iowa.
A father who is headed toward another heart attack. A woman who struggles daily with diabetes and her memory. A boy whose headaches keep him out of school. A mother who one morning discovers a lump. A girl whose condition defies diagnosis. You come to us because you need answers, but you also need more. You need understanding of what you're going through. You need comfort. You need to be treated as an individual, not a condition. You need to be included in your own care. You are the point of everything we do. That's why we're changing to Unity Point Health. It's a model of care that will help us work better together, where the physician who knows you best takes the lead, coordinating your care through every step, from the hospital to specialists to rehabilitation to health services in the home and in the community, to making sure the treatments are effective. By working as a team, we surround you with care, helping you manage your health and your conditions, guiding you to making better choices and living a healthier life. The point of Unity is you. Unity Point Health.
See them here, see them there. You got bad credit, we don't care.
Visit emetro4.com for your guaranteed credit approval. Good credit, bad credit, no credit. Everybody drives with guaranteed credit approval at emetro4.com. Visit emetro4.com today.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Welcome back to this week's edition of Recovery Monday, brought to you by the good folks at Powell CDC. Our very special guest this week has been Shay, 32 years old, 96 days sober. And I want you to with us what you just shared off mic, if you're comfortable with that, about how you became your mother's caretaker 15, 16 years ago.
I guess I was kind of always the parent.
Okay.
And she was always the child, you know, always every like relationship problem or anything like that. I was the person that had to deal with it. I was left with my sister a lot to raise my sister, was like her babysitter. And when my grandma died 13 years ago, then I kind of took on the pick up the pieces, always have to deal with all the family.
You're 19 years old at the time.
Right.
This isn't unusual.
Really?
When you have an alcoholic parent, they do that a lot. And the children never have a childhood.
She wasn't really alcoholic, though. She didn't really drink. It was other substances.
Drugs. Well,
it
doesn't make any difference. Their mind is somewhere else
right.
other than where it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Right.
So you just got your graduation chip from Powell.
Right.
Is different now that you are 96 days sober.
How did it feel to get that?
It felt pretty good.
Yeah.
I bet. I don't know. I was kind of it was a big, important day, and there were people that I really wanted to be there that couldn't be there for work-related reasons or whatever it would be. But you really you find out who your friends are when you go through something like this. You certainly gain a lot of different friends. I have friends that I never thought I would be friends with, people that I have more fun being with than other people that I've hung out with over the years.
Sober.
So, right.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain yourself to sober people. They just automatically know you, accept you. There's no judgment.
Right.
It's a pretty neat relationship.
No, hold on. You mean people who have gotten sober?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
People in the program you automatically are close to them. Not automatically, but I mean, it's just like the real world. There's some that you like and some you don't like. But for the most part, when they become friends of yours, it's a deeper relationship than it is with your other friendships.
Yeah. Now, are you a part of Celebrate Recovery?
We go every once in a while, but not all the time.
Going to do Alpha again?
I am going to host Alpha again, yes.
Good. How will you be a different host for those 10 folks in Alpha than you were the first time?
I think I'm more focused now. I mean, more focused, more supportive. I kind of now like search to see if somebody's got some underlining issue that they're dealing with, because
that's what I did too when I was a host. You can spot them.
You can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell when somebody, I mean, there's people out there that I know now that I know have, and it might not even be alcohol. It might be something else, but they're struggling with something, but they have to be ready.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't help somebody who's not ready to help themselves.
Yeah.
But I think your relationship with your higher power probably has deepened or will deepen, and, until this class comes, and then that comes across when you're teaching.
Yeah.
People want what you have.
Yeah, I mean, I think you already know this, but the hosts are the people that probably grow the most. Oh, that rhymes. But, I mean, I hosted Alpha I don't know how many times, and then I was a shepherd for many seasons. And I found that my growth was accelerated when I was hanging around other hosts and hanging around other shepherds. I went from thinking I know most of this to, oh, no, I don't know much at all, to I don't know anything. And then becoming very vulnerable and transparent and surrendering, and then really starting to grow. Because the new one starts here, 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
September 14th.
Yeah. Now, do you host just women, or what do you host?
Just women.
Just women. Okay. Let's jump ahead. Okay. And it is 1 year sober, which would be what date? What would the sobriety date be?
May 8th.
Oh, really? I'm May 10th. So tell me who Shay is on May 10th of 2015, or May 8th of 2015, and what will you be doing? How will your life be different? That's what I meant to ask.
How will my life be different? Well, it'll be sober. I'm sure a lot of my friends will be different. Hopefully, by May 8th of 2015, I will have repaired damage that I've done to friendships, relationships. I don't know. I hope to have like this amazing job by then that I truly love.
Okay.
But it's not in my hands. So.
And we're working on that.
We're working on that.
Yeah. Now, Lyle, I want to ask you as the expert here. She said she will have repaired relationships. Is that what you said?
Correct.
Is that the right verbiage? Because I would say you don't have to repair anything. All you have to do is take responsibility for what you did and ask for amends.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. And it's not important that
but
I'm right.
But her wish was that if by doing that she will have repaired it. But that's out of her control.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, because you're going to find some people. I have a couple people who will not allow me to even make amends to them. And that hurts until I remember what I was taught, and that was all I can do is ask.
Right.
The only thing I can do is ask forgiveness, take responsibility, and say it'll never happen again, and how can I mend this relationship? Yeah, don't go out there thinking that there's no guilt and shame anymore. Do you understand that? You're past the guilt and shame. And who is a person who gives you guilt and shame? It's the accuser. Guilt and shame is not from God. Do you understand that?
Yes.
God does not give people guilt and shame unless you're Catholic. Oh, that's a Catholic joke. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. But, it's only the accuser that wants us to feel guilt and shame. Well, God only says that you're an amazing daughter of a risen king, that you are spectacularly wonderful, that you have an incredible heart, and that you're beautiful from the inside out. That's the only thing God says about you.
Ooh, I want to write those down and put them around my house.
Right.
That sounds pretty good.
Well, but it's true.
I know, but wouldn't it be neat to hear that every day? I guess you can.
Would you like me to record it and put it on like a little chip that you can push and say that? Okay.
Yeah, wake up to that every day.
Shay, I'd like to ask you to come back in 90 days.
90 more days?
If you would.
Okay.
And I want to I want to see how things are going. And I want you to begin to share the experiences that God's giving you out there in the sober world, and most importantly, how you're beginning to recognize how you're fulfilling His purpose for your life.
Okay.
Because that's what you sound like you want to do. And if you surrender to Him, that's what He's going to let you do. Is that okay?
It's okay.
Okay. Book it, Dano. Lila, thank you for being here. Robert, as always, thank you for being here. Ryan, thanks for producing. I'm J. Michael McCoy. Here's what I'd like you to do for me until we meet again next Monday. I want you to think about somebody who you need to repair that relationship with. I want you to think about that person who maybe long, long ago did something wrong to you, or you did something wrong to them, or it was just mutual and it blew up and a resentment grew. And I want you to think about one thing. I want you to forgive them this weekend. We'll see you next Monday.